Allow your lower back to relax completely. Your legs are relaxed. They may be hip distance apart, but maybe they're wider or narrower, so you can always play with the placement of the feet. And we're eventually looking for sensation in the lower back, but it can take time for sensation to arise in Sphinx pose. Feel as though you could breathe into the lower back, as though you could breathe there directly. If you're not feeling anything in the lower back, or not feeling as much as you would like to, you could raise the forearms up on blocks or bolster, folded blanket, rolled mat to lift the chest higher to deepen the curve. You could also raise the feet up, or you could keep the chest down and just lift the feet. And then when you have adjusted, you're again coming to stillness. And when you notice thoughts arising, as they will, you're using your exhales to let them go. Directing your inhales to the lower back, creating space. Letting go of the tension. Enjoying being present with each breath, present with the sensations in your body. Spend just under a minute longer here if you can stay. And if your feet are raised, let's take the feet down. If you have a bolster, some support under your arms or your chest, slide that away. We're going to come down onto the floor or the mat to rest. Lower yourself down and look to one side and draw the leg on that same side along the floor to help release in the lower back. In our next pose, we're going to use the blocks or some support under the elbows and bring our focus to the shoulders, the sides of the chest. So if this is familiar to you, you could go straight there. Otherwise, I'll talk you into the pose. If you have two blocks the same height, you could bring them so that they're lined up at the front of your mat. So you know the blocks are even. We're going to be lying on the ground with just the elbows on the blocks. So you're positioning your body so you're having to reach forward to get the elbows onto the blocks. And then the head comes down to the floor between the upper arms. So you don't want to have the blocks so close that the blocks are supporting the upper arms. You want just the elbows on the block. A bit easier to have the palms together. If you're not feeling quite enough, you could create a dome in the hands, fingertips touching. So you're pulling the palms apart, pulling the wrists apart. And if you happen to have a third block, or you could use some other prop, you could bring that between the hands. So now my hands are as wide as my shoulders, creating more external rotation through the shoulders, more sensation. If you don't have a third block, you could always use whatever you have around, something firm, a doweling, a stick, small umbrella, something that you can have between the hands to keep the hands apart. But maybe that's too much for you to have the hands apart. So you're listening to how the body feels in the pose. Maybe the palms together feels enough. So just your elbows are raised on your block or whatever prop you're using. Your head is coming down towards the floor between the upper arms. You're looking for some sensation through the shoulders, upper arms, maybe the sides of the chest. Where you feel it will depend on your unique body. And we want the intensity, of course, to be safe. If it's too much to be up on blocks, maybe it's enough to have the elbows on the floor. So you're listening to your body, adjusting for what you need. So maybe elbows on the floor will create enough sensation, perhaps with the hands drawn apart. Maybe you're very open in this direction and one block under each elbow is insufficient and you're not feeling much. And you might be able to raise those blocks to go even higher with the elbows. We don't want to be unsafe in the pose. We want the appropriate amount of sensation. Nothing sharp, nothing that feels unsafe. And remembering that the left and right sides may not feel the same. They may feel quite different, and that's okay. Breathing with the sensations that you feel. Finding the stillness in the pose, but always remembering you can adjust to shift into a deeper variation or less intense variation, and then again find stillness, or to come out altogether anytime. So you're paying attention to how you feel in your body. If you have something between the hands, to widen the hands to create more external rotation in the shoulders. If it's a block, have the block also between the wrists so that you get the benefit of the block. Sometimes when the block is just between the hands, the wrists bend and the forearms come closer together. So to benefit from the block is between the wrist and the palms. So the forearms are more upright. farther apart, shoulder distance apart. Perhaps we'll spend half a minute longer here if you're able to stay. Notice your breathing. Sure, the breath, each breath is a calm breath. You can always stay longer in the poses. If you don't feel ready to come out yet, just stay as you are. Otherwise, if there's something between the hands, that come down.